Welcome to Monday. Yeah, back on the Mk1. I am doing the Mk1. I'm just down the unit. Pick up. Must get on with it. Must get on with it. But focusing, trying to focus. Wife's birthday this weekend. It is actually Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon now in Hollywood. So I bought the steel wheels down. I bought the bonnet. Bought the wheel, doors, and boot. I'm going to try and jig them up, make a jig to hold them all, so I can actually sort of put them in. I've never done it. I should have done it when I got things shot blasted. Put them in epoxy primer, because then we need to put filler primer on them. I was just going to ignore them right to the end of once I've painted all the car, and I'm like, oh no. Otherwise, it's going to be weeks dragging on. So this sort of weather, I can get away with just doing epoxy primer and stuff. So what I want to do is build a jig to hold the doors. I forgot my tripod, so I'm not going to be able to film too much. But we'll give it a go. We'll see if we can get the doors mounted in a way that we can sort of like try and paint them both sides at the same time, and hopefully we can reuse that jig when we paint it for real. But for now, the idea is to get epoxy primer on the whole panels and the wheels, and then we can come back at another time and put filler primer. I think I'm only going to do filler primer on the outsides of the sort of doors and stuff. The epoxy primer is pretty good just for inside the doors and stuff. I'm just going that way. Sorry if it's a bit of a bodge, but I think that'd be alright. But anyway, let's build a jig, and then in a minute hopefully I'll show you a jig with the doors mounted on it. We'll see. Plug, plug, plug. There we go. Floating door. Just made a hole with a couple of spikes on it. Might need something just to stop that swinging, because I do know when you paint stuff, it's nice to have it solid. Oh, I've got a few holes in there to plug up, just where the shot blast has done that, but we can do that in a bit. The main thing is to get some epoxy primer on it. There's the old Vauxhall engine there. I am, too much of a mess, as always. There we go. We've got both doors hanging up. It's quite handy. So yeah, just need to make room for boot, panels and other things yet, and the wheels. And then yeah, keep on going. Well, after a few hours, I've got some epoxy primer on it. The gun was mucking about. It seemed to be like it was decided to turn into a spray gun for Airfix models. So good spray pan, but just very, very tiny. So it was a real cheap gunner. Got it on there. Definitely got some runs in a few places. Some's turned out better than others. But it is a epoxy primer, so the key thing is it's just nice to get it all in one coat now. Bonnet down, boot down there. So yeah, I think it's just a case of letting that go off, rub the high spots over, and get some filler primer on the outside of these. I don't think I'll bother with filler primer inside. Just not need. Most of it's covered up with panels or things anyway, chrome strips. So we've got a bit of epoxy primer on the hinges, and we've got some epoxy primer on the steel wheels as well. So it'll do. What we'll do is I expect we'll put some high build primer just on the outside of these, and then just sort of a bit of wet and dry afterwards, and a bit of old English white. I think that's what we're going to go with. Hopefully Jimbo's going to lend me some of his old English white. But yeah, sort the gun out. Got myself another strip, so we're just going to take that home and try that. Be interesting to see if that's any different. Yeah, I'm not going to zoom on a lot of this too much, because you're going to be able to see my runs. Yeah, so we're getting there. I think it was a good idea to do this. One, just to make them stop going any worse, that's for sure. Ooh, windy. But yeah, now technically everything's in epoxy primer that we need painting. Yeah, and so yeah, we're all at the sort of same stage now with a bit of filler primer. Don't worry about the bonnet. I donated the bonnet to my dad's 67, and I picked up another bonnet for this car. So all that needs is scotching down. It doesn't need epoxy primer because it's all good anyway, so just needs mostly a bit of a high build prime on the top of that. And yeah, not the ideal conditions. Busy with rain, just windy, but we got there. My little stand's quite good. Fundamental flaw that I didn't actually make it adjustable or removable, so I don't know if it's actually going to fit in my car, so I'm thinking this is an ideal thing to bring back because I really need to paint this the same time as a car really. It does help, even though I've got the paint mix, which is good. Just different conditions, different environments, you're going to get a slightly different finish. I did with the jet black though, it's just the way it worked. I had to do the door separately in the space, so I might try and do it all together, but it is pretty tricky in a single garage. If we get everything over to here, it would be a bit different, but I've got a big clubman sitting here in the way. Pete, mate! But yeah, I'm pleased with that. That's alright. I've worked with the thing. Yeah, it's more work rubbing some of the runs down, but it's just what it is. What it is, what it is. Hang on, let me just clean you. There you go. So yeah. So that's been a good afternoon. Would have been nice to make 2 videos, but look at that. Oh. So yeah. So it worked quite well, that. I was quite surprised. I managed to get into most bits. Maybe the doors apart slightly would have been a bit better, but I think I can move them a bit anyway. So yeah, filler prime on the outsides. Rub that down, and then we just colour the whole lot in one go. I think that'll be it, won't it? Yeah. And yeah, so what I'm thinking now is, yeah, maybe we high build the next day. We'll see how this goes off. And then Old English white. I know it's a cliche. Old English white the roof. Old English white these wheels at the same time. And then that's the roof done. We can then mask the roof off. Finish off high building up and sanding the body. And yeah. Anyway, alright. Thanks for watching. We're getting there slowly. Yeah. Don't know what we're going to have to do here. I just need to call the wife up now and see what we're having. I'm fancying burgers, actually. Burgers and chips. Off to see a musical tomorrow for the wife's birthday. Musical about Henry VIII and his 6 wives. Sounds exciting. But anyway, I'm back. We're going to really try and hit it this week. I'm trying to sort my schedule out, but you never know what's going to happen with family. But yeah, thanks for being with us, and see you tomorrow.